Final Reckoning is a triumphant return to form for the Mission Impossible franchise, a superbly written and brilliantly directed action thriller with some of the best storytelling I've ever seen, and a glorious send-off for one of the most beloved action heroes in Hollywood history. That is what I wish I could be telling you right now, but unfortunately, that would be a lie. The unpleasant truth here is that Final Reckoning is a real mess of a movie, with a bloated and fragmented storyline that tries to juggle way too many plot devices, weighed down by stodgy exposition dumps that go on forever and mostly reiterate stuff that we already know, and featuring some of the most confusing and nonsensical editing choices in the whole franchise. And it's such a frustrating disappointment because most of this film's problems are self-inflicted and could have been easily avoided. Now, I know it's just open, so I'm gonna do my best to avoid spoilers with this one. I'll give a brief outline of the plot, but I'm not gonna tell you where it's all leading or how it ends. But if you really don't want to know anything that happens in this story, then look away now or something. You have been warned. So the movie opens a few months after the events of Dead Reckoning. The AI known as the Entity is now wreaking havoc across the world, spreading disinformation and stoking conflicts and civil unrests. Even worse, it's trying to hack its way into the defense systems of all the world's major powers to take control of their nuclear arsenals and start World War III. Why? Don't know. It just wants to blow up the world because it's evil, I guess. The only chance of stopping it now lies with Ethan Hunt, who's managed to obtain the key to the plot device locked away inside the nuclear sub from Dead Reckoning. The only problem is that Gabriel wants the plot device for himself so that he can take control of the Entity, so he captures Ethan and forces him to retrieve it. On the other hand, the Entity wants access to another plot device where it can lock itself away and ride out the coming nuclear apocalypse. And I guess just spend the rest of eternity chilling out in a bunker. I don't fucking know. Meanwhile, Luther is working on another plot device that'll infect the Entity with a virus and stop it from launching the nukes, but he needs the plot device from the sub to make it work. So the plan is for Ethan to find the sub, retrieve the sunken plot device, and combine it with Luther's plot device to poison the Entity and drive it into the other plot device where they can trap it inside yet another plot device that Luther also constructed, but only if they disconnect it at the exact millisecond that it goes in. Yeah. So if you're spotting a theme here, then congratulations, because it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that this script consists of about 80% contrived plot devices that pop up whenever they're needed. And that's not even counting the stuff that's just blatantly retconned from previous movies. Like, nobody is believing that the rabbit's fruit from Mission Impossible 3 was a fucking AI. There's just so much convoluted bullshit going on in this film that it actually becomes hard to keep track of after a while. And the thing is, I think the writers realize this too, because every 10 minutes or so, all the major characters gather around for another big exposition dump, where they basically explain everything that's going on and everything that each person has to do to make their plan work. It's clunky and annoying, it kills the pace, and is one of the reasons why this movie is close to 3 hours long. And damn man, you definitely feel it after a while. The Entity itself is a weak as fuck idea for a villain. Its motivations and ultimate plan are poorly defined. There's no explanation for what it intends to do if it actually wins, and there's like one scene where it communicates directly with Ethan, but then it just becomes this vague threat in the background that's supposedly super intelligent, but somehow everyone can predict what it's gonna do. And I can't shake the feeling that it was originally going to have a much more of a presence in the movie, but they rewrote the script after Dead Reckoning flopped. Instead, Gabriel becomes the main antagonist, and well, there's just not much I can say about the guy. He's a generic mustache-twirling supervillain who wants to take over the world, the kind of guy you've seen a million times before. He's somehow able to throw around 30 megaton nuclear weapons like they're the kind of thing you can pick up at a hunting store, but he also thinks that he can get clear of the blast within like 15 minutes. Yeah, good luck with that one, buddy. The editing is also fucking baffling. The first 15 minutes of this weird, non-chronological mess of exposition and like 3 different infiltration missions happening at the same time that feels like they tried to speedrun a much longer segment by just jamming it all together. It's weird and annoying, and it makes you question when the actual storyline is gonna kick in. There's a big cast of characters in Ethan's team now, but the script doesn't seem to know what to do with most of them. Benji gets sidelined for a lot of the film, and Paris is just kind of there. Like she's got a major beef with Gabriel because he shoved a knife into her gut, and I assumed it was leading somewhere, except that it doesn't. I mean, on the plus side, Haley Atwell is always a pleasure to see on screen, so that's something at least. If I could say anything positive about the movie, the action scenes and the stunts are still pretty impressive, and they clearly threw everything they had at this one. There's a pretty inventive set piece inside the submarine as it rolls around on the seafloor, and the final fight aboard a plane was visually cool, even if it doesn't make much sense in the story. Tom Cruise is wearing well at 60, and he knows it, which is why he's shirtless for like half the film. But the thing is, it feels almost out of place now, like maybe this would have been a good time to acknowledge that he's getting older and slowing down a little, but nope. He's just doing his thing like it's still 2002. Not really sure why the plot tries to build up Ethan as some kind of quasi-messiah figure who's destined to save humanity either, whether it was Tom Cruise's ego or just a misjudged script, but either way it feels weird and self-aggrandizing. Maybe the biggest issue for me though is that there's no real sense of closure or finality to this one, despite the name. It's been built up as the final movie in the franchise, but there's really no definitive ending to it. It's really just treated like business as usual, just another adventure, and there's nothing to suggest they won't roll out another movie in a few years. But if Final Reckoning is anything to go by, I don't know, man. Maybe they should quit while they're ahead. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. This review will self-destruct after 10 seconds. Go away now.